They are the first Americans, but how will they vote? And what are the issues they face in this election year? From South Dakota to Nevada to Arizona, we'll hear from the Lakota, the Shoshone, and the Navajo.
From Monument Valley in the heart of the Navajo Nation, I'm Avi Lewis, and this is Frontline USA. Monument Valley. It's the picture postcard version of the Wild West frontier. Today, these lands could become a front line in the race for the White House, where the Native American voting bloc is crucial in swing states like New Mexico and Arizona. But what happens when Native Americans decide to opt out of this country altogether? That's what happened recently when leaders of the Lakota Sioux Nation declared independence from the United States and announced the founding of the Sovereign Republic of Lakota. They say that their people's treaty relationship with the U.S. government has been a 150-year failure, and they point to some powerful statistics. Life expectancy among men, only 44 years. Infant mortality running at 5 times the national average. To get the whole story, we sent Monica Vishamizar to Lakota country. Here she is with this week's Frontline Focus.
The Badlands of South Dakota. In winter, this is one of America's most inhospitable places, with temperatures dropping to Arctic levels. The Lakota Sioux Indian tribe has lived here for generations. A lonely memorial reminds visitors of the day in 1890 when U.S. government cavalry massacred members of the tribe.
And we're still resisting imperialism. It is a classic third world situation on Indian reservations. It's no different than the homelands of apartheid South Africa.
Actor and activist Russell Means is the figurehead of Lakota resistance against the U.S. government.
The United States of America is the role model for Palestine, the occupation of Palestine, the entire robbery of the natural resources of Palestine, for Iraq, which is another Indian reservation.
He says the U.S. government has repeatedly broken its treaties. Russell Means may not represent everyone on the reservation, but many Lakota are listening to his call to break away from the U.S. and become a sovereign nation. The day-to-day problems on the Pine Ridge Reservation are many. It has one of the highest unemployment and infant mortality rates in the country. The average household income is just around $4,000 per year, and alcoholism is rampant.
There ain't nothing better for us to do because there ain't no jobs down there in Pine Ridge. There ain't nothing down there, man.
This was all our land. All this United States was ours, and they all took it from us and left us right here where we're at. Left us with these, how many bars are right here? 1, 2, 3, 4 bars.
4 bars.
This is $1 million business every year.
Who's a leader, like a political leader who could represent your interests, do you think?
Zero. Zero.
Why?
Because they get all the money off of us. That's why they're riding Lear jets and everything. What should I vote for? What should I vote for? Well, it don't count.
Ben Good Buffalo is a Lakota spiritual leader. He prays for his people. He believes that they have lost their own culture because of too much interaction with Western life and politics.
If 2 people are running for president, it's the people that make that decision by voting. That's the white man's way again.
This is Ben's house. He's not sleeping here though during the winter because these donated trailers where many Native Americans live are not only poorly insulated, they have holes all over the place and do not have electricity. Every winter, Ben moves to his van so he can withstand the cold. Many Native American reservations across the country have brought in money for infrastructure, schools, and housing through mining and casinos. This has been tried here too, but has not worked as hoped.
Originally, the Pine Ridge Casino was intended to bring tourism and customers from outside of the reservation, but actually today, 70% of the people who come here are Native American.
Legendary warrior Chief Red Cloud fought with Crazy Horse against the U.S. military. His great-grandson, Chief Oliver Red Cloud, is a customer here.
I have nothing else to do. The white man's world, they have everything, ball game, basketball game, they have everything. The Lakota people, we don't have nothing like that.
There is a renaissance of traditional Lakota culture in Pine Ridge, and perhaps a culture of resistance is also growing. It is not a sentimental reminder of ancient ways. It is politically powerful and linked to their bond with the land. Although the native vote in Pine Ridge is crucial because it can determine whether the state of South Dakota swings towards Democrat or Republican, the question is whether Lakotas are willing to take part in a political system that has not met their needs. Washington, Jefferson, Roosevelt, and Lincoln are remembered as great American leaders. But for many Lakota, the very granite these faces are carved from is stolen. They believe these are sacred hills, and these presidents have no place here.
We laugh at that shrine of hypocrisy. Why they call it the shrine of democracy. I think that's what they call it, I forget. But it's laughable. That thing's gonna slide one day.
Casinos and mining mean money, and that means power, at least for those native leaders who control the revenue. A world away from this landscape, those leaders are a growing political force in Washington. On this week's Limo Lobby, we look at their clout in the Capitol. DESWOOD TOME is based in Washington, D.C. as the Director of Communications for the Navajo Nation. Dylan Long is a Navajo activist who studied in the Ivy Leagues, but took a very different route, returning to the reservation as an environmental campaigner. Back in the Navajo Nation, DESWOOD and Dylan are on opposite sides of a battle within the tribe over the construction of a huge coal plant. The $3 billion Desert Rock project would be the third electricity generating plant in an area where the air quality is already bad and jobs are scarce.
For the Navajo Nation, it's jobs, it's revenues.
The plant is also expected to generate $50 million a year for the Navajo Nation government. But it won't provide any electricity to the 20,000 Navajo households now living without it.
They take our coal, they dirty our place, and they're going to provide services to somebody else.
The plant will also have a major impact on the environment. Sulfur, mercury, soot, and 12 million tons of carbon dioxide emissions a year. The battleground is the traditional Navajo territory in the desert, but the decisions will be made in Washington. Welcome to the Limo Lobby. We've lured you into this limo because here in Washington, D.C., deals about power plants and casinos, they go down in places like this. What is What do you think is wrong with the Desert Rock coal plant project?
Our voices have been ignored this entire time, and a lot of the Desert Rock processes and decisions that are being made about the project happen outside our communities, and we're not informed.
Well, I can respect Dylan's feelings about the Navajo grassroots not being involved, but the Navajo government, including President Joe Shirley, has gone to extensive efforts to apprise and keep Navajo people aware and involved.
Dylan, are you satisfied with that?
No, the only extent that the Navajo Nation has been involved with Desert Rock process and grassroots is when they go to our elders and exploit them for their land, bribing them out of their land territories.
We certainly aren't bribing anybody.
You're going to have to convince him, because this is where the accusation is.
Yes. When an energy official or a tribal official comes to the house of an elder who does not know any type of English language, nonetheless understands a document that is given to them, and then for them to sign or fingerprint a document, that's what we call exploitation.
Well, we're not aware of any of that going on.
I don't need to tell you that there's 40% of the Navajo Nation living under the poverty line, that there's 50% unemployment or more. Isn't thousands of jobs and hundreds of permanent jobs exactly what your people need?
It depends on what types of jobs. Navajo grassroots do want jobs, but they want clean jobs, not these oil fields and coal-powered power plants. You know, those are such temporary jobs, and I should know. I grew up in a power plant lifestyle. My fathers and my brothers, they work in a power plant, so I can speak directly to the issue.
Desert Rock is for people who desire to want to work there. The Navajo government is doing its most to ensure that there's going to be less and less emissions, and more cleaner environment. But how do you balance all this? How do you balance the fact
question, isn't it?
that you have 56% unemployment on the Navajo Nation? You have an energy development plan that you've been involved in 40 years. We want to strike a balance. We want to strike a chord.
We have drawn a line in the sand as far as extractive industry coming and taking our lands, and we haven't seen any benefits from it.
We're getting to the heart of it now, but I want you to teach me a little bit about the Navajo fundamental laws. I want to understand what they are in a basic sense, and how this development is consistent or inconsistent with them.
Well, Navajo fundamental law is about harmony. You know, it's about living in balance, not living in extravagance, but not living in lack. It's about living where you're in peace and in harmony.
So how do you reconcile that with 12 million tons of carbon emissions a year?
Well, I would say that...
Sorry, you need to answer that. Well, how is that part of the vision of the universe that you've described in Navajo tradition? It's tough.
Well, you have that as Navajo fundamental law. Then you have the needs and demands of the growth of Navajo. I mean, we are so far behind. How else can we catch up?
Are you feeling this?
The tribal leaders really need to come out to our homes and engage in dialogue with us.
Well, we absolutely need to come together. And that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about harmony, when I'm talking about living in balance, is coming together.
All right, it sounds like we've started a conversation here that you need to take back to your community, but thank you for riding the limo lobby with us.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Frontline USA, coming to you this week from Monument Valley. The issues are very real for people here in the Navajo Nation, but you won't find any election correspondents in this desert. They're back in the big city, dissecting every spin and soundbite of the world's first multi-billion-dollar election campaign. It's called the Goldfish Bowl, and for the media, it's a feeding frenzy. Here's Richard GIZBERT with this week's Election Post.
Thanks, Avi. At the Election Post this week, we're going to look at the impact that some voters are already having on this campaign by posting their own videos on the World Wide Web, attracting attention, shaping opinion in a way that politicians only wish they could.
It was a creed written into the founding documents.
Take a political speech by the candidate of the moment and put it to music.
The king who took us to the mountaintop.
Stir in some celebrity voices.
Yes, we can to opportunity and prosperity. Yes, we can to opportunity and prosperity.
And the result is a masterclass in the art of politics during the age of the internet.
Pop music can do what politics never can do, and it's taken, a 17-minute speech and it's cut it down to 4.5 minutes, so it's concise. It's effortlessly cool because these people understand the medium, and it's emotive because these words are actually emotive.
Repair this world. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
And you put a little acoustic guitar underneath it and a beat, and it just makes the emotion rise up.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
And it's also just really, really catchy. It works not just as a video, but it also works as a song. I mean, people put it on as a ringtone on their phone. They, play it on their stereo. I think that it's very powerful, and it's almost just as powerful to listen to it without any visuals.
The song is the work of will.i.am from the Black Eyed Peas. It has been viewed more than 15 million times, affecting voters, touching hearts, perhaps shaping minds. A political amateur showing the campaign professionals how it's done.
Campaigns have to be more conservative when they're doing online video initiatives because they're looking to create a video that obviously sticks to certain talking points and conveys certain messages about their campaign.
Voter-generated content can sort of be irreverent. It doesn't have to stick to the issues. It doesn't have to be on message. It can be arty. It can be funny. It can be anything. It's free, and that's actually what works. The freer it is.
It used to be that if you were interested in influencing the election on a national basis, it was very hard and very expensive to do that. Now, sort of anyone with a laptop can, in the course of an afternoon, make an online video, post it for free, and disseminate it across the country.
Independent web videos first broke out in the U.S. in the 2004 election. This one lampooned both candidates.
You're a liberal wiener.
You can't say nuclear. That really scares me.
This time around, a Barack Obama supporter created a laptop sensation that spilled into the mainstream media when he spoofed Apple Computer's 1984 ad, casting the then favorite, Hillary Clinton, as Big Brother.
Want to be part of a team.
When I made the ad, Obama was an underdog, and the thought of him beating Hillary Clinton seemed very, very unlikely. But I wanted to make a video that would show that that's possible and show what that change would represent, a whole new style of politics. She claimed to be having a conversation with voters through the internet.
I'm not just starting a campaign, though. I'm beginning a conversation.
In some ways, the video is a mockery of her internet conversations, and the Obama supporter in the ad, blows that all up.
Voter-generated content has been adding to the political mix throughout this campaign. But the producers of the material better get used to sharing the space. The political pros are watching, learning, and getting in on the act.
Hillary Clinton had one success come out of her professional ad team, a Sopranos parody. And we've seen one ad come out of Mike Huckabee's campaign with Chuck Norris, the action movie star.
Chuck Norris approved.
The political maestros who adopted TV ads, they're going to be looking at the internet and they'll be creating their own viral ads, and it'll get harder and harder to tell. They'll be hiring young people out of university to create hip and probably quite negative campaigning ads. It will become, to some extent, like every other media ad that you can propagandize.
Yes, we can.
Next week, it's all eyes on Ohio, Texas, and the primaries there. Most news people will be covering the candidates. We'll be covering the coverage here at the Election Post on Frontline USA.
Nevada's Yucca Mountain has always been a sacred spot for indigenous people. The Western Shoshone know it as Snake Mountain. These days, it's best known as the proposed site of a radioactive waste depository. The fight for the future of that mountain is intense. One of the people on the front lines of that battle is Johnny Robb, a spiritual leader of the Western Shoshone Yamba tribe. We'd like to give the last word in this week's show to him. So until next time on Frontline USA, so long.
My name is Johnny Bob. I'm a Western Shoshone Indian looking after my people. My way is a traditional way. I take my way of praying for the people, praying for my land, my water, our food, and praying for the sickness that's going on. Yakima is a place where our native people used to gather their medicine. This map is of our Western Shoshone land. Right through here is treaty land. Yucca Mountains over here, and the U.S. government has everything fenced in. Our nation is who we are, and this is sovereignty to us. Sovereignty is our God, our Appa. We don't want no more nuclear waste coming into our country. I believe in my old people when they talk about that radiation coming to us one of these days. The shape of that Yucca Mountain, it looks like a snake. Right now it's laying still. One of these days that snake will wake up, and the earthquake comes and moves that snake. We're gonna see radiation killing our people, our animals, our food. Come here. I think with our new president that's gonna be there, it's gonna open up their eyes if the people make our voice heard to the White House. Western Shoshone Indians, they do vote. My people always say, I can't vote because I'm a traditional person. I could pray for them, they could do the right thing. I could pray for them to have them listen to us.